hints at a possible continuation to the series, but honestly, I really hope that doesn't happen, because if they couldn't tell much of a story in this series, why the fuck would I pay to watch them try it again?
No. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they learned from their mistakes since then and made a good Digimon Adventure movie.
Later.
No matter which way I looked at this film, the film fails in every way, and I will not be supporting any future films with the adventure name on it because they fucked me over once with this project and I refuse to let it happen again.
No. I was right back then. Because they fucked me over again! And I'm more so mad at myself in this movie because I legit believed that the creators behind this learned from their mistakes. But that optimism was wasted, because Last Evolution Kizuna is a badly written, poorly paced garbage fire of a film that more so spits on the adventure series than gives it a farewell. Let me put it this way, when the original series director for Adventure 1 and 2, the one that made Digimon Adventure a goddamn cash cow for Toei in the first place, walks off the project during development, that's a bad omen. But I digress. So, what is the story? Well, basically some chick wants to steal the consciousness of all the Digidestined and people who use Digimon so that they can all relive their childhood forever in her little fantasy world. So basically, she's Toei. And the reason she made this plan? Because the older a Digidestined gets and more potential unlocked from the Digimon, the weaker the bond with the Digimon gets, and as such, it dissipates, leaving the Digidestined with nothing.
That's fucking stupid, right?
This is such a stupid goddamn retcon / change to the series. Like seriously, what were you thinking? The older and more time you spend with the Digimon, the weaker the link gets? Are you kidding me? In the time spent between 01 and 02, the main cast grew in developmentally and physically alongside their Digimon, they broke new limits and unlocked greater heights never seen before. And that's not even getting into Tri, where they unlocked their Megas. We got more potential unlocked from them. And that potential / growth can still be there as they age into adulthood, as they have to deal with new experiences and adapt to it, which can only further strengthen their bond if they work together and get through it. But this movie's decision to cut out this part of life for the Digidestined and Mon by introducing a fucking time limit to their growth before they have to say goodbye is idiotic, since not only is there story potential to be had with them as adults and the Digimon learning / growing from that too, but this decision is also creatively restrictive. That's not even bringing up the fact that this film is allegedly in continuity with the epilogue, which has the Digidestined as adults with their Digimon with them.
Whoops-a-day, I mean I meant to do that!
So continuity-wise, this absolutely doesn't work, and even outside of that, this doesn't work because the concept is idiotic and creatively restrictive in regards to storytelling. And it's not like this story couldn't exist without this idiotic change to the lore, you just have to change the reason why she's doing the thing. Hell, here's one. Maybe she lost her Digimon because she herself refused to save the world, or do her duty as a Digidestined. Legitimately is saving the world, but still you get my point. Or heck, going off Adventure's theme of growing up, why not have her try to get her Digimon back as in the original movie? But the only reason she lost it in the first place was because her idea of saying goodbye to childhood was literal, and or that she abandoned the Digimon and her Digivice. But enough about what it could have been, let's get back to what it is. So this particular change to the lore is stupid, I've already gone over that. But what else is wrong with this play-incest story? Well, many things. For one, the message of growing up and letting things go is incredibly ham-fisted and not subtle at all in this movie. Not only in the form of the main antagonist spelling it out for us as if the audience was fucking brain dead, but also by the other characters. The original Adventure in 02 handled the concept and message of growth / growing up much better because they were a lot less in your face about it and treated their audience like, well, frickin' people. This doesn't, and that's insulting. Another issue with the story / plan is the pacing feels incredibly rushed, as if you were watching Digimon Adventure on fast forward to an extent. Not helped by them introducing so many of the Adventure cast into this one movie, and then brush them aside once they fulfill their use to Matt and Tai, who are treated as the main focus of the movie, and not, you know, the Adventure cast, who were the main focus back then. Yes, it would have been hard to develop all of them, but then again, who was asking for this in the form of a movie? They could have done this in an anime, where they would have more time, more episodes, and more room to grow. Hell, the two even get new, never-before-seen forms that look ugly as sin. It's like they tried to make them even more humanoid than ever before, and it doesn't work. It looks overly over-designed. And yes, I know that's redundant, but still. And it looks really goddamn ugly, not only in terms of anatomy, but also in terms of colors, in terms of so much other shit. Oh, and speaking of quick note, I am not a fan of the art style they use in this movie. I don't like the color palette, and character designs look off-putting, and strange, especially in comparison to Adventure 1, 2, and even Try to an extent. It's not a good art style at all. Sure, the animation itself is clean and fluent, but that can only get so far when the stuff being moved on screen isn't that appealing to the eye. Alright, back on topic. Another issue with this movie is that even the message of growing up into adulthood feels dry and rehashed, considering that was basically what Try was about. Yes, Adventure 1 and 2 were also about growing up, but they weren't specifically about adulthood specifically, it was just growing up in general. Try focused on adulthood for that. And actually, here's the funny thing about Try. That movie series only came out a few years prior to this one. Which is even funnier because this movie was apparently being worked on around the time Try was being worked on. So you'd think the writers would notice the similarities a bit and rework their theme/message a bit. But then again, if they did that, this movie may not exist. Oh no, now how will we get our fix of the Digidestined growing up into adults? Oh wait, maybe that movie series meant to celebrate the 15th anniversary of the series? Oh, but this one has them saying goodbye to their Digimon. You mean like what happened at the end of the original adventure? When they said goodbye to their Digimon and thought they would never see them again? Oh, well, this one has both messages together. Maybe so, but isn't this movie targeted at the fans of Adventure 1, 2, and Try to an extent? Meaning they've already seen these before, and done better too. Meaning this movie has even less of a reason to exist, since those fans could just watch those series to get a similar experience, and with better pacing, art, and everything else? This movie's just too deep for you. Probably. Doesn't change my opinion of the movie, though. Just means I don't get to understand the deeper elements of a piece of consumable media related to a franchise I'm a casual fan of. Yeah, I'm sure missing out on the convo there. And I think that's probably my biggest issue with this movie. This feels incredibly pointless to watch as a fan of the Adventure series. A lot of stuff present here, like the Parrotmon fight, the first fight with the Osmon, a concept of growing up into adulthood, and many more examples, were already done before in Adventure, and better in the previous Adventure series, and Try. Though the quality varies in the latter, but that's besides the point. Oh, and, also done better in non-Digimon Adventure series, like Tamers. Also, quick note here, your very best friend? Yeah, your very best friend is just a being composed of geometric shapes. Yet another reason why geometric shapes are the spawn of Satan. Meanwhile, this movie takes a lot of those elements and compresses them down and or makes them inferior to the original to fit a 90-minute runtime to appease the fans of a property that have already seen a lot of this before, including the farewell to the Digimon and Digidestined. Hell, at least 01 and 02 attempted to make the other main characters who weren't named Matt and Tai grow and develop throughout the story. Same with Try to an extent, but not as well. And oh my god, this movie shafts the O2 cast so hard in this one. Two of them get knocked out off screen and or barely contribute. And yes, they were in the original adventure, but O2 gave them a lot more importance in the story, so I more so associate them with the O2 cast to an extent. And then the rest just give a tiny piece of exposition before they fight off basically mook/fodder. God, I feel so bad for fans of O2. So, if you couldn't tell, I would avoid this movie if you're a fan of the Adventure series. You lose nothing by skipping this outside of a ham-fisted message and inferior versions of stuff you may have liked watching back then. And since this movie is geared for said fans of Adventure, I can't even recommend this to people who've never seen Digimon Adventure before, because it relies on a lot of continuity seen in Adventure 1 and Try. Even if a lot of it is rehashed, but it still relies on a lot of continuity from back then, so I wouldn't even recommend this to non-Adventure fans or those who haven't seen it before. Honestly, the best thing Toei could have done to keep the Adventure revenue train running was just to reboot the anime and start from scratch. Oh, wait a minute. That's exactly what they did a month before this movie came out. Fuck off. Ugh. Okay. Well, at least the movie itself made a lot of money. Right? So, yeah, that's all I got for this one. Fuck this movie, and just go watch the reboot instead. I'm David Grimm, and thank you for watching. And if it sounds like I rushed through this, we'll just say this review matches the quality of the movie. Yeah, that totally explains why the script sucks. Oh god, this is gonna get ripped, isn't it?